What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue, and what I'm going to be doing today is going to be a garlic and herb marinated salmon. Now, this recipe was a recipe that I intended on doing outside on the grill, but the weather's not cooperating with us, so we're going to do this inside. Now, we're still going to be able to get some of that smoky flavor that you would get out on the grill by using a cedar plank. Now, this is a cedar plank that I haven't soaked yet, but I do have one soaking right now, which we're going to be cooking our fish on. And we'll get to how we're going to work with that down the road. As far as our ingredients, very simple. What I'm using is about a little over a pound of salmon, and I have that cut into portions. We have lemon juice, olive oil, and before I go any further, I do want to let you know that all the ingredients are going to be in the description below. So we have that, some sea salt and pepper, some honey, basil that's chopped, parsley that's chopped, rosemary that's chopped, and we have minced garlic and red wine vinegar. Now I'm going to use some of this marinade to make just a little bit of a tomato relish kind of a deal, so we're going to be pairing that with this. First thing we need to do to get this started is just make our marinade. It's going to be very simple. So all that we're going to be doing is adding all of our ingredients, with the exception of our salmon and our tomatoes, into a bowl. So I'm going to start with our honey. Get our olive oil in here. And I'll be kind of stirring as I go along. Some good olive oil. Our lemon juice. Now you can use fresh lemon juice. I just happen to have some squeezed bottle lemon juice, which I think is going to go well with this. Our salt and pepper. Our basil. Parsley. Rosemary. Our garlic, and our red wine vinegar. Now, one thing that you need to do whenever you're cooking is kind of eyeball it. Whether you're following my recipe or anybody else's recipe, if things don't look right, go ahead and make adjustments. Now, this looks a little bit too thick for me, or maybe not too thick, but a little thicker than what I want. So what I'm going to do is we're going to add a little bit more olive oil and red wine vinegar to this. So I got my olive oil and my red wine vinegar. I will have this adjustment in the description below as well. We're just going to kind of eyeball it a little bit. That looks right about where I want it. So now we're going to take our salmon fillets. I'm just throwing it in a plastic Tupperware style dish. Now I do have the skin that is going to be on this salmon. You can also remove the skin if you'd like. So we're going to take this marinade and we're going to pour it over our salmon. And I'll make sure that that's tossed in there well. I did reserve some of this marinade for later. What we're going to use half of this, the remaining marinade with, is going to be with our tomatoes, and I'm just going to kind of toss those, and the rest of this, when we're cooking this in the oven, we're just going to kind of pour a little bit over it during the last couple minutes of cooking time. So what I'm going to do, let this fish marinate for about an hour along with these tomatoes. Once we're done with that, we're going to get to cooking. We're about 30 minutes in on the marinade process, and what I've done was I took a sheet pan and just wrapped it with foil just to make cleanup a little bit easier. I have a raised rack, have that set on here, and then we have our cedar plank that's been soaking for about 3 hours. What I'm going to do is throw this in the oven on the broil setting. Now, the broil setting is where the top heating element is going to be super hot. You pull up your oven racks to the top position, and what we're gonna do is char this board. Once that's done getting charred, we're gonna lower that rack down, or I have 2 racks. We're just gonna cook the fish on the lower rack. So I'm gonna get this board charred up, and I'll see you when we're done. So now we have our cedar plank. We have it all charred up. It's been popping, crackling. That's exactly what you want. Now we're gonna get our salmon out of our marinade and just place it on our cedar planks. Now I was planning on using some of the some leftover marinade to kind of brush on as it was cooking, and this looks like it's enough, so I just threw the rest of that marinade in with those tomatoes, so that's gonna even make that more delicious. Now I turned my oven down to 375, and we're gonna cook that for about 7-8 minutes at 375. Then we'll take a look. It should be cooked at about in about 7 minutes. So here's what our salmon looks like all cooked up. Now what I did was cook this for about 12 minutes. It took a little bit longer than what I was anticipating, but what you want to do is cook it until it's firm and starts flaking away, which is what we have right here. I've already plated up my tomatoes. We have a little bit of this marinade liquid over here, which is what we are going to set our salmon on. And then we're going to take a picture of it and then go in for the taste test. So guys, we got it all plated up. Time to go in on this and see what we think. Now I'm not all about eating the skin, so I'm going to flake the salmon off of the skin. Listen, you've got to try that marinade. And these tomatoes, you know what? I might add a little bit of red onion to this, or maybe some shallots, but these tomatoes are close to stealing the show. That marinade is the bomb. Try it out. As a matter of fact, if you're not cooking salmon and throwing it in some tomatoes or something like that, that marinade would be a great salad dressing. Anyway, before I keep rambling on, I'd like to thank you guys for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.